So welcome everybody to the Nadex Application and Strategy webinar series. My name is John Skelton. I'm with apexinvesting.com, and this webinar is brought to you today and hosted by Nadex, so we appreciate them having us. And we're going to talk a little bit tonight. If you've been with us recently, we've gone over some of the basics and cycled back through some of the basics of Nadex binaries and spreads, and talked about what is a binary, what is a spread, how to choose the right binary, how to choose the right spread. We're covering several different topics, and today we're going to talk about trading Nadex binaries at night. So let's knock out our disclosures here so we can get moving. Trading futures, options, or any financial instrument involves risk, may not be suitable for every investor. Any examples used today are not a recommendation to buy or sell or a solicitation to buy or sell futures, options, bonds, binaries, or Nadex spreads. So keep in mind, if I'm showing you the Nadex platform today and I'm showing you an order ticket and I'm entering an order in the demo account, that's in no way a trade advice or trade recommendation. That's simply me just showing you the functionality of the Nadex site and the functionality of the order ticket and how to place an order or exit an order, simply for informational and educational examples only. And excuse me, and once again, any trading decision you make is your sole responsibility. Past performance not indicative of future results. So if you are brand new, make sure to hop on over to nadex.com. And a couple things I want to point out to you here, and I'm going to show you a little more later. The first thing I want to direct your attention to right here on nadex.com is trading platforms. You can go right here to the Nadex trading platform online. You can get, they have a mobile app that you can use from your smartphone. But right here, demo trading platform. If any of you are brand new and do not have a demo account, or even if you're not new, even if you have a live account and you've been trading live at Nadex for a while, Nadex will give you a free $25,000 simulated demo account. Okay, all you've got to do is select a username, fill out some quick information, and hit submit, and in just a few moments you will get an email from Nadex with a temporary password. You'll be able to log right into a demo account. All right, and once you do that, you can go right up here to My Account, and you can go to Settings and Password, and you can change that temporary password to a password of your choice, easy to remember. But the Nadex demo platform is a great place just to get familiar with Nadex, get familiar with the different instruments they offer, different expirations they offer, how to enter and exit orders, and if you're testing out a new strategy or new system, don't use your live account, your live money, to test out something new. That's a very expensive education there. Definitely utilize your Nadex demo account when you're testing out anything new. Okay, and I'm going to come back in a few moments and I'm going to show you some other areas on the Nadex website to take advantage of. A ton of free education there for you. Like I said, Apex and Nadex, two complete separate companies. All right, Nadex is an exchange. Apex, we're an online education company. We're a group of traders helping traders. We've got over 25,000 members now. We have trade rooms and indicators and trading systems, and most of our systems focus a lot on risk management and probability. That's why we love the Cap to Risk Nadex products, and we're a Nadex education partner. We do these application and strategy webinars for you because, again, Nadex provides you with a ton of free education. We're just here to help you understand who is Nadex, what are the Nadex products, how are some different ways to trade it, how can you incorporate them into your existing trading strategy or system. So just here to give you some free education and insight of how to utilize them. I've been with Apex now for about 3 years as head of operations. I've got a background in banking and as a licensed stockbroker. And again, I'm a trader just like you. I trade Nadex binaries and spreads every day. We trade them in our trade rooms. We love them. Okay, so today's topic. All right, we're going to talk about trading Nadex binaries at night. And we're going to talk a little bit about what markets can I trade at night. We're going to briefly review some thoughts on some nighttime trading strategies and some instruments that are available for short-term trades. And we're going to focus quite a bit on news at night. Okay, now what we're not going to do, let me just kind of set the groundwork here for you, okay, because I want everybody to kind of take a breath and take a step back for a minute. Okay, we're not going to really review in-depth details of all these different strategies that you could do today. Okay, now I've done webinars and training on those before. I'll show you here in a few moments where you can go and watch those videos on the Nadex website, and you can dig in and understand the actual different strategies and systems and how those work. So I know some of you might be like, oh man, I thought we were going to hop on here, you're going to show me exactly how to trade them at night, okay, and show me the exact systems and strategies. Well, I've already done that, and I'll show you where you can go and watch that as well. All right, but more what I'm going to kind of do is I want you to kind of step back a little bit and think outside of the box. All right, before you can, you might have the perfect system, all right, and you might have the perfect strategy, and you've mastered that system, and you know the rules inside out. But that's not always enough, all right? You can still fail if you don't plan properly, all right? So this webinar is kind of about taking a step back from strategies and systems and starting with the right foundation and planning. And then I'm going to show you, a few strategies and systems and where you can dive into those based on which one is, more suitable for you. But just to kind of put it into perspective here a little bit, let's just say in any business you're in, but let's say you're a construction worker, you're a home builder. Let's say you're you pour foundations, for new homes. All right, you're the foundation guy or girl, right? Well, we all know a home is only as good as the foundation it's built on, right? You have a faulty foundation in your home, you're going to have a lot of other problems. You have, being level and cracks and leaks, but with a good foundation, you can build a good house. You can build a 2-story house, 3-story house, multi-level apartment building, a skyscraper, right? So with the right foundation, when it comes to your nighttime trading, you can build on it. But just like a foundation, maybe you've been in that business of pouring foundations for houses for years. You're a master foundation layer. You've been doing it your whole life. Your father and your grandfather did it. You're 3-generation master foundation layer, right? You've mastered it. You have all the latest cutting-edge tools. You have the perfect team and the perfect employees and workers. You have the best reputation in the industry. You've got a portfolio of pictures of beautiful foundations and houses you've built, and they're just great. But you show up at a job site to pour a new foundation. You bring all your tools. You bring all your staff and employees. You haul a bunch of trucks and trailers with tools and materials. Spend all that time and all that money. But you show up to the job site and it's pouring rain and it's storming and thunder and lightning, right? Or let's say you're a painter, right? You're a master painter, but you show up to the job site and it's pouring rain and you can't work, right? All because, hey, you know what? I have all this stuff. I've mastered this. I know this strategy, this system, but I forgot to watch the news. I didn't even check the weather. I didn't check what the conditions were. I didn't plan ahead right. Okay, and does that analogy make sense to where sometimes we get so caught up in just show me a strategy, show me a system, and those are great. We need those, and I'll show you those. But you have to set the foundation properly of when to use those strategies, when to use those systems. Okay, that way, like that master foundation pourer, you didn't waste a day and waste a trip and waste money paying your whole team to go there and take time out of your life and away from your family, ruin materials, right? And it's the same way with trading, okay, especially if you're trading part-time or trading at night. Some of you have full-time jobs and you're only trading at night. And you have to realize, and some of you may have already encountered this, that you're like, man, I don't know if this trading thing is working. I don't know if this binary thing is working. I work a full-time job, I have a family, I have responsibilities, I take 2 or 3 nights out during the week to trade, and nothing's happening. I don't get anywhere. I don't think this is going to work. Okay, but when I look back, I have these good trade setups on this system that I have. Okay, so you have to understand how to plan it right. All right, you don't want to be just taking away time away from your life and your family just to waste it or be disappointed. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about, you know, 2 main things to focus on if you're a part-time trader or especially a nighttime trader. Okay, and these are probably the 2 biggest mistakes I've seen that, again, no matter if you have the most perfect system and you understand the rules backwards and forwards, if you don't get a handle on these 2 things, it doesn't do you any good at all to have that great system or have the rules down. So you got to focus on these 2 things here. So first of all, I'm going to show you a little bit more about some more education here in a moment. Okay, like I said, some of you might be part-time. You know, you're not sitting in front of the charts all day and monitoring trades for 8 hours a day. You know, you're just trading at night or during the day, lunch breaks, and sometimes longer term strategies may not be ideal for you. You need some shorter term to take advantage of just those couple hours that you have. And that's why Nadex Binaries might be the perfect option for you. All right, with the capped limited risk, you can trade with smaller accounts, very easy to open account. There's a lot of short-term expirations on both binaries and spreads. Here's the very first issue, and probably one of the, well, I'd say, all right, we'll call this the top mistake that nighttime traders make. Okay, and then we'll go into the second top mistake. But the first one is not understanding the difference between daytime trading and nighttime trading. A lot of new traders have read a lot of books and they've watched these videos on YouTube, and you know, they hear all this talk about, you know, trading the S&P or trading Nasdaq or trading silver, or I like to trade corn and soybean, whatever it is, and you get so wrapped up in that and you hear about certain of these markets, or you read about something and it becomes your favorite market for whatever reason, and so you sit down at night and you want to trade that. Okay, well, the first thing you have to realize is you got to treat it like any other business and understand, what is my market? Where are my, you know, if you're in a sales job, you know, what is my market? What is my market niche? Where are my best prospects? If I'm going to be in business and sell a product, where are my marketing and advertising dollars best spent? Where should my focus be? Because you want to be the most efficient that you can be, not only with your money, but particularly your time, right? And so that's the first thing to understand, is if you're a nighttime trader, let's say, you know, we're talking about Eastern time, and let's say you're trading from 7 o'clock Eastern time to 9 or 10 Eastern time. And for some of you veterans, this might be very basic and elementary, but it's always good to recover these basics. But for some of you newbies, you know, you might not fully understand this. So, you know, let's think about some of the popular markets. Okay, let's pull up, let's just bring up the Nadex platform over here. Let's talk about some stock indices. Okay, well, down here, all right, under indice binaries, these first 4 we have here, these are international stock indices, right? We've got the China 50, the London FTSE, the German DAX, we've got the, you know, the Japan Nikkei. Then these bottom 4 here are the U.S. stock indices. The U.S. Tech 100 is a derivative of the Nasdaq. U.S. 500 is a derivative of the S&P. Small cap is the Russell. Wall Street 30 is the Dow, right? A lot of new traders and people hear about trading. Oh, I hear that on the news, the Nasdaq and the Dow and the, yeah, those move a lot. I want to trade those. Okay. Well, those are the U.S. stock indices, and you know, those open outcry pits open at what, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, and they close about 4 p.m. Eastern time. Yes, they can be traded 24/7 online, but when do you think that those particular instruments move the most? When do you think the most movement in the markets are on those particular indices? Do you think it's in the mornings, like from 9:30 to noon, the first few hours of the opening? Or do you think it's at 8 o'clock at night? Let me just get a little show of hands here to make sure everyone's paying attention. Okay, again, may sound very elementary, but I talk to so many people who tell me I'm a nighttime trader and I trade from 7 to 10 at night and I watch the NASDAQ. Okay, well, I'm not saying the NASDAQ or any of these, aren't going to, move, Mike. I'm not saying that any of these aren't going to move at night, okay? But they're probably not going to move at night like they're going to move during the opening time, correct? Now, there might be news at night that moves those markets. We'll talk about that. But for the most part, those are probably not the markets that are going to move the most at night. Right. Everybody's saying the first couple hours of the U.S. session in the morning, right? Okay, so if I only have the night times to trade and I only have a couple hours at night to trade and utilize my strategy system, and maybe I only have one computer, maybe I only have one screen or one monitor, maybe I have 2 or 3 monitors, maybe I can't monitor 10 different charts, I can only monitor a few. Well, if I'm trading at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, are the few markets that I want to be monitoring the markets that mainly move, in the morning time? Is that the best utilization of my time, my limited time? No, probably not, right? So let's think about what moves at night, all right? So from that 7 to 10 period, let's say, the U.S. session is closed. Yes, everything's traded online. But what other markets around the world are kind of just opening and being active around that time from, say, 7 at night to 10? Again, we know that some of these big markets, some of these markets move a lot when they first open. So where at in the world is it possibly morning time and markets are just opening, and what markets might be moving during that time? Yeah, the Asian markets, right? Okay, so maybe I do want to look at, if I'm trading indices, maybe I want to look at that Japan 225, the Nikkei, right? Or some of these others. What other market? Australia, exactly. So what if I pull down here to Forex binaries? Well, all right, we know that Australia is opening up, so maybe I would want to look at and step back and think, okay, the Australian markets are opening, Australian news is coming out, things can move the Australian markets, which therefore can affect the Australian currency, so maybe the Aussie is moving. Well, let's take a look here. Nadex offers, binaries and spreads. We're looking at binaries right now. We have Aussie yen. Okay, well, hey, Aussie, so Australia's open. What's the other thing that's opening around then? Around that same time? The Asian markets, meaning Japan. So right there, I've got an Aussie yen, which is 2 markets that are both currently opening. Both currently having their morning session, right? So that might be one I want to pay attention to. I've got Aussie dollar. Okay, again, the Australian market is opening up. Okay. Right here, I have euro what? Euro yen. Okay. Again, the Asian markets are opening up. I've got pound yen. Okay, pound yen likes to move. Pound yen's a good mover, right? Got pound yen. And then I've got what? Dollar yen. So just right there, I've got 5 different instruments that are having to do with a market that is open. It's their morning session. I have a full-time job during the day for the daily U.S. session. I can't trade the opening U.S. session. I can only trade at night. Okay, so at night, what is an opening market I could trade? So right there, we just covered 5 different markets. So what do you think, if you've got limited time to trade at night and only certain days to trade, would you perhaps want to be watching, these 4 or 5 markets? Or do you want to be watching these 4 markets? Now, I'm not telling you what to trade and not to trade. Again, there are some movements in these other markets at times at night, okay? But not necessarily as much as these others unless there's some bigger news events, right? So you understand what I'm saying here. So, but just from that aspect alone, can you see how someone that's new and trading part-time watching one of these markets might be like, man, there's nothing going on. This nighttime trading thing isn't going to work for me. And maybe it was just simply the fact that they needed to be watching these other markets. And not just comparing buying indices to Forex. Also look at some of these other Forex pairs. I mean, we have Euro Pound. Are either one of those markets opening from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.? No, right? What about Euro Dollar? Now, granted, yes, yen can affect the dollar, which can affect the euro. Yes, there's all, kind of trickle-down effects there. But where is the most effect in movement going to be, right? When the Australian market's opening up, is that, is that going to affect the Aussie yen or Aussie dollar more? Or is it going to affect the U.S. currency compared to Canadian currency, right? So once again, this is where I said we've got to take a step back. You might have a great little strategy or system, all right? But if you only have limited time and you're watching the wrong markets, you're not really giving yourself the opportunity to take advantage of that strategy or system. You're not making the most use of your time, all right? And again, this might be very elementary for some of you, but for some of you newbies, it's like, oh, I never really thought about it like that, right? So let's take a peek at something here. On a few of these Forex binaries, let's just, for example, look at the USD yen, all right? So if I want to trade USD yen, I've got a ton of options. Not only do I have Nadex spreads, but on Nadex binaries, I've got 2-hour expirations. Okay, let's just look right now. All right, and it'll be the same at nighttime. Like right now, I've got a binary that opened at 12 p.m. expires at 2. I've got one that opened at 1 and expires at 3. Then I've got these dailies that are hours out, right? I've got later today at 3 p.m., tonight at 7 p.m., tonight at 11 p.m. I've got overnight at 3 a.m., in the morning at 7 a.m., 11 a.m. I've got a lot of binaries to choose from there, right? I also have weekly, okay, that expire on Fridays. So let's say it's a Monday or Tuesday. I've got short-term, coming up this hour, the next hour, hours out, into the week. The other thing I also have is 5-minute binaries, okay? Now, maybe you like to trade 5-minute binaries, maybe you don't, but Nadex offers 5-minute binaries on these 7 different Forex pairs. So again, USD yen. What do I mean by 5-minute binaries? For those of you that may not know, well, it's literally a binary that opens up and expires every 5 minutes. Like these right here expire at 1:30. We've got 4 minutes and 20 seconds left to go on it. All right, and when those expire in 4 minutes and 15 seconds, a new binary will open up for 5 minutes. It expires 5 minutes later. Okay, so when you look at those options, and that's another thing you have to realize on indices at night. All right, if you're trading the stock indices at night, the U.S. stock indices at night, you've got spreads available, but as far as binaries, the only binaries you have available are the end of the day, the next day. All right, but when you're trading Forex at night, you've got hourly, you've got daily, you've got weeklies. And then you've got 5-minute binaries. I mean, when you're looking at just at nighttime, for example, Aussie dollar 1, USD yen 2, Euro yen 3, pound yen 4. Okay, so that those early evening markets that are open, you've got 4 different instruments that give you binaries every 5 minutes, except for the last 5 minutes of the hour. So you've got 11 an hour times 4. You've got 44 expirations an hour just on 5-minute binaries, much less the hourlies and the 2 hours and the dailies. You've got a ton of opportunities there with the Forex market with Nadex at night. Okay, so a lot more than you have at night on, you know, the U.S. indices or on commodities. Again, I'm not saying you can't trade any of those, but if you're looking for what moves the most and has the most options. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. That's the first part of nighttime trading. It's not about strategy or system. The first part is not strategy or system. The first part is, what am I going to focus on, right? What is moving right now, okay? Or what's going to move or not move? Or what do I have options on? So if we take that a step further, so the Australian and Asian markets open up, and, you know, and then they're closing up, you know, after midnight there, a few hours after midnight. What is opening up about 3 a.m.? So let's say that hey, I have a full-time job. I don't like to trade at night, but I get up hours earlier before work and before the kids get up, and that's when I trade, is the middle of the night, about 3 a.m. Eastern time. Well, at 3 a.m. Eastern time, do I want to be focused on Aussie and yen that's about to close? Do I want to be focused on U.S. stuff that hasn't really opened yet? Again, you know, U.S. stuff can move at night and probably moves a little more during the middle of the night than it does early evening. But what's opening up 3 a.m.? Yeah, London, Europe, Germany, right? So you have a whole other part of the world where those markets are opening up and having their morning open, okay? And so yes, you can look at indice binaries, and you've got the London FTSE and the German FDAX, okay? That's opening up, right? So you could trade those indices, all right? But what about Forex as well? Well, now we're looking at, you know, euro pound, euro yen, euro dollar, pound yen, pound dollar, USD franc, right? Again, a lot of options there. You have to know what moves during what time, right? So whether you're an early evening trader or overnight trader, you've got different options there, and you have to pay attention to that, okay? You know, is there power to having certain markets that are your favorite markets that you really dig in and learn those markets? And you know how they move, you know how news affects them, you know how absolutely there is, okay? But don't get married to an instrument. Don't choose a favorite instrument and you're just going to stick with that instrument no matter what time of day or night you're trading, because it might not be the right one for that time. You know, if you're trading the right instrument at the right time and you have your favorites, sure, I'm not telling you have to watch all these different ones. I'm just saying, but those are the ones that are going to be moving the most at that time, okay? So now, let's say that your particular strategy, all right, so let's say that your strategy, say you only know one strategy. You're newer, you have one strategy. Well, and it's a trending strategy, okay? You don't really know how to trade the choppy days or the range-bound days. You only know how to trade trends, okay? Well then, what I just explained to you makes a lot of sense, right? Because if you only know how to trend trade, you're going to be wasting your time at night or overnight watching something that's not going to move, correct? You need to be able to know what's going to move or what's more likely to move, okay? So if that's your strategy is a trending strategy, this is even more important. Let's say that you don't know a trending strategy. What you know is a range-bound strategy, meaning, you know, I'm not wanting to trade trending markets. I want to trade markets that are moving sideways or they're staying within a range. Okay. Sharon asked about slower markets, you know, do those create a greater probability to collect premium with premium collection type strategies? Absolutely. Okay. So if you, if some of you that don't know what premium collection is or range-bound trading, I'm going to show you here in just a few moments what that is and where you can go to watch videos of strategies and systems of how to trade it and some trade examples of it on those videos as well. So if you're not a trend trader and you only know how to trade range-bound trades, or that's the kind of trades you want, well, then maybe you would want to do the opposite of what I just showed you, right? You may specifically say, okay, that was helpful, John, but that was helpful in the opposite way. You showed me what markets are open when, and you showed me which instruments are probably moving the most at different times of day or night. But I want markets that aren't moving, right? So now I know what to trade as a trend trader or what to trade as a range-bound trader. Okay, so it can work either way. Does that make sense? If you know what's moving during those times, then you know what's probably not going to move during those times. And then based on your strategy or system, you can figure out what ones to watch. Okay, so is this kind of coming together here, guys? I know some of you are like, oh man, I want to see strategies and systems. I hopped on this nighttime binary webinar because I thought this guy was going to show me how to go in and choose this binary and make this strategy. You know, you understand how that's great, and I'll show you those here and where you can get those. But it doesn't do you any good to be like, oh, cool, that John guy showed me this great trending system. I'm so glad I got on that webinar and he taught me that trend system. I'm going to sit down tonight at 7 o'clock and I'm going to watch for that trend system on the NASDAQ or on corn and soybeans, or you know what I'm saying? So realize, don't feel like, oh man, it was a waste of time to get on that webinar because he didn't show me a system. Well, this 45-minute webinar here is all about don't waste your time every single night. Don't waste hours and hours. Okay, so I hope you can see where it's like, oh yeah, I do need to step back and build the foundation first of what is moving at that time. How many markets can I watch? How many computers do I have? How many screens do I have? I need to make the most, you know, efficiency out of my time, my schedule, and my real estate of monitor space, right? Okay, so that comes first before strategy or system. Okay, and then the next step is, all right, I only have one strategy or system. I only trend trade. Okay, then I know what markets I want to look at during which hours. Hey, I only range-bound trade. Then I know what markets to watch and not watch during those hours. Or hey, I've learned both. I've learned both systems, okay, and I can trade them both. I know how to identify both markets. I've got plenty of computer screen space. Maybe I want to watch a couple of these certain ones on these screens for trend setups and certain of these couple other ones on another screen for range-bound setups. I want to be able to have multiple plays in my playbook, diversify a little bit, okay, which I think is great to do, but I don't think anyone should start that way. If you're a brand new trader, do not think that you have to know everything in order to do anything. If you think you have to know it all before you start trading, you will never start trading, okay? Because you will never know it all. You will always learn more. You will always be learning and growing. You'll always develop. Start with one strategy or system, learn it, master it, practice it in your demo account, master it in your demo account, be profitable in your demo account, and then move over to live. Kevin says, that was huge to hear. Kevin, are you talking about the don't need to know everything to do anything? Because if you wait to know everything, you'll never start trading. And you can talk to people that are veteran traders that have traded for 30 years, and they'll tell you that exact same thing, of they're still learning. And markets change, and technology changes. You know what I mean? And that's another huge mistake that I've seen new traders make is, you know, like when they come to see us over at apexinvesting.com, we have, for example, let's say 10 different systems. Oh, well, I've got to go through and learn all 10 systems. No, you don't, because all you'll ever do is watch videos and keep learning, which is great, always learn, but you'll never start trading one of them. And then when you think you've got all 10 figured out and you sit down to try to trade 10 different ones, you're confusing, wait, was that this setup or was that this system or this rule crossed with it? Oh, forget it. Forget it. Figure out which one suits you now to start off with. A range bound or a trending strategy. What fits your schedule? What fits your comfort zone and style of trading? What fits your account balance and your risk tolerance? Start with one and master it. When you first start trading, okay, maybe after you've been trading for years, then you're kind of a jack of all trades, that I can adjust to these different markets, I know how to read the markets, I can adjust to market conditions, and I know that I can read that and hop in there for a quick scalp, and I can hop in this one for a trend, and you kind of be, you know, you're a jack of all trades, as it were. But when you're a newbie trader, do not try to be a jack of all trades. All right? Be an ace of one, master one, and then add another. Okay? So, hope everybody sees how that part right there was beneficial to know. I need to know where to focus. What markets are open, what times, and then what strategy am I going to do? Trending or range bound. Okay? But now let's take it a step further. Okay? Let's take it a step further. So you say, okay, I took that guy's advice on that webinar, and I decided that I am going to learn this range or this trending strategy. Okay? I'm going to learn trend trading. I like that. Okay? And what I want to do is do what that guy said as well, and know that, all right, I'm trading from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time, just a couple of nights a week, or, you know, I can only do 2 or 3 nights a week. I can't take away from my life and family 5 nights a week. I can only do 2 or 3 nights a week, and I took that guy's advice. I'm learning a trending strategy. I know which markets to watch. So I sat down on Monday night, and then I sat down on Sunday night to try to trade. There were no trades. I sat down on Monday night to try to trade this trending strategy. No trades. Then I sat down again on Thursday night to try this trending strategy. There were no trades. Man, maybe that John guy on that webinar wasn't right. Okay. There were no trending trades. The markets were kind of sideways and range bound. Well, then I'm going to change my strategy now, and I'm going to go learn a range bound strategy, because these last few days there were no trade setups, and now I'm just going to completely change my strategy, completely change my system, scratch everything, start over, lose patience. Now I'm going to go learn this range bound strategy. Okay, I spent a couple weeks and I learned that range bound strategy. So then next week I'm going to sit down on Sunday night and, oh my goodness, I didn't see any setups for this range-bound strategy. And Monday night, I didn't see any setups for it. But when I look back at my chart, there were a bunch of trending entries, but I wasn't even paying attention to those because I scratched that system last week. Ugh. All right, let me switch back over to that one. And then tonight there's nothing. And you go and you do this and you feel like you got nowhere, right? Has anyone done that? If you're let's say you have a full-time job, you're trading at night, you sit down at night for a few hours, a couple days a week, you try to trade and there's just nothing there. And you're focused, you've tried to be good and disciplined and do everything you've heard on webinars and read books and focus on one strategy and just one thing, right? And you just sat there, you know, and then you're like, oh, well, that got me nowhere. That was 3 hours of my night wasted. My husband or wife's all mad at me that I took time away from the family a couple nights this week, and I got nowhere. I have nothing to show him or her for this. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe this doesn't work. We've all been there, right? Okay. Well, first of all, sometimes that just happens, right? Patience is the key with trading. Sometimes there's just not a setup. And you have to realize with trading, first of all, it takes patience. Secondly, don't push a setup. Don't push for a trade. Don't reach for a trade. Wait for the right trade to come. And just because you might have a day or a couple of days and there's no trade setups, that doesn't mean go and change your system. Because then you're just flopping around from here to there. You're flopping, right? You're not focusing and mastering, okay? But here's the thing. Patience is the key with trading. Say that again. Ziminelli said, say that again. I'll say it again. Patience is the key, all right? So don't switch around and hop around your strategies just because you didn't get some trade setups, okay? Don't get frustrated and give up just because you didn't get some trade setups, okay? But here is a huge key. Let's go back to scenario one, right? Scenario one, I'm a trend trader, okay? I'm a trend trader. That is the strategy or system that I chose. I'm a trend trader. So I'm hoping to catch some trends, right? But I randomly just sat down these certain nights and I didn't get a trend. But you know what happened? Because I can't trade every night of the week, only 2 or 3, I didn't get a trend. But you know what? What happened to me every week is the nights that I didn't trade, the nights I didn't choose to sit down and trade, when I go look back at my chart, guess what there was? There was a trend. Why does that happen to me? Murphy's Law is getting me. The world's out to get me, right? Well, what do you think might have happened on, all right, this chart right here, random USD yen, all right? You know, you see some movement here. Let's look for, whoa, what is this? Boom, right? What do you think possibly might have happened right here that moved this market? Look at the timestamp at the bottom, 8:30, 8:30, 8:30, 8:31, 8:35. Oh, news. News happened, affected the markets reacted, people reacted, creating a trend, right? So what do you think was probably not happening right in here? Well, for one, everything's kind of closed right there, but there was really no news. There was nothing going on. So again, After you hear this, you're going to be like, wow, that was so elementary. How come I didn't know that? And some of you might already know this. So if I'm a trend trader only, and I can only trade at night, and I can only trade a few hours, and I can only trade 2 or 3 nights a week, should I just randomly, if I'm a trend trader, I need that movement, should I just randomly say, I think I'll trade Monday and Wednesday and, I don't know, one other day? We'll have to see what shows are on TV that night, you know? Maybe I won't want to trade that night. If it's reruns, maybe I'll trade. And I just randomly pick my days. And then I say, oh, this isn't working. Or maybe over the weekend, do I want to hop on and get online and check out the news? Do I want to go and, for example, over at apexinvesting.com, we have a news calendar for the next upcoming 2 weeks. What day and time are news events coming out? What news events might affect the market? Or do I want to hop on to Forex Factory? Try forexfactory.com, okay? And I can look at forexfactory.com and look at, okay, today, tomorrow, the next day, what news events are coming out, all right? What time do those news events come out? What day do they come out? What currency do they affect? What historical kind of impact have those news events had? Do they move the market a lot? Do they, well, you know, it normally moves the market 10, 15 pips, no big deal. Or am I looking at these red ones going, okay, these have a historical big effect on the market. And I can look at forecast and previous. I can do a little research to say, okay, it's Saturday. Let me kind of plan my schedule for this upcoming week. What nights do I want to trade? Because I only know how to trend trade. So if I'm looking through Forex Factory or financialjuice.com or the Apex calendar or anywhere online, whatever, you know, you can go all over the place. These are just a few examples. And there's no news, there's nothing going on Tuesday night. And again, I'm a trend trader. It's Tuesday, there's nothing going on. Do I most likely want to trade Tuesday night? Or is that just going to be probably not the most efficient planning of my time? Does that make sense? And then you look back to last week and you go, oh, I traded a couple nights a week and sat there and got nothing. And the other nights, everything moved. And when I go back and look at a news calendar, now I see why. Because I happened to trade the night where there was nothing coming out. Now it makes sense. All right? Is that kind of a little bit of a light bulb maybe for some of you newbies? Some people have been around a while. It's like, yeah, I know, I do this all the time. I didn't know this when I was new to trading. I didn't think about this. I didn't understand this. I sat there watching the wrong things at the wrong times, right? So now you realize, okay, now I'm starting to understand more why John didn't go just into strategy and system when he talked about nighttime trading. You have to back up and know, what strategy are you trading? Are you watching the right instruments, first of all, okay, of what is even open during that time frame I'm trading? And then, even though those instruments happen to be open at that time, what days of the week are most likely for those instruments to move? And now, I'm not feeling so much like I'm wasting my time. I'm not regretting that I spent a night away from my life and family to sit in front of screens and stare at them for nothing and have my, you know, kids want me to do something with them and I feel like it was a waste, or my husband or wife yelling at me because I'm not here with the family, I'm doing nothing to show for it. Or why my particular strategy just never seems to work on those nights that I choose because I'm a trend trader and I'm not trading the nights where news is coming out. Okay? Kevin says, wow, I didn't know that events like this were posted. Okay, was just always watching and reacting. Yeah, Kevin, you can go online and get Forex. I mean, Forex Factory is just one of them. There's many you can look at. I like Forex Factory because it gives you historical impacts and stuff like that. Okay. Here's another thing. How many of you that didn't know about this have been trading at night and you're in a binary trade and you're like, okay, I bought this binary. It's going up. It's going up. I still got a little time till expiration, but man, I'm feeling good about this trade. This is great. And then just like, boom, out of nowhere, the market just turns. And I don't mean turns like 1 or 2 or 3 ticks and you're like, oh man, I barely lost that. I mean, you're just watching and out of nowhere, the market just does one of these right here. Boom, like you sold and you're going down. Oh, great. And then boom, right? Or like these big moves like out of nowhere and you're like, what just happened? You know, boom. So you're in this trade, and okay, I bought here and it's going up. I'm feeling good. It's going up. Boom. And you're just like, what just happened? Everyone's out to get me. The world's out to get me, right? And if you would have only known to look at news events and know that news was about to come out that could affect that trade you're in, and you were up in profit, and it's a few minutes before that news event comes out, you might want to close that trade out and take your profit, right? If you know ahead of time, you can plan, is my point. Okay? Now, once again, what if the opposite is the case? I'm not a trend trader. I'm a range-bound trader. I like to use range-bound strategies and, you know, in-the-money strategies and premium collection strategies. Okay, well, if that's your strategy, and that's the only strategy you know, is you want range-bound, like Sharon, you asked about. So if I want a range-bound strategy, do I want to be trading on potentially trending nights? Do I want to be trading certain instruments on the night where big news comes out and it's going to move a lot? No, right? It's the opposite of what we just talked about. If I'm not a trend trader and I only know range-bound trading, which is trading when it's kind of a slow sideways market, and again, I can only trade a couple of nights a week, I then want to find the nights where there's not news coming out necessarily, or when there's certain news coming out that only moves the market between a certain range. Does that kind of all make sense? All right, is this all elementary for everyone, or for anyone, was this a few light bulbs like, oh, I never knew that, I never got, okay, right, I got to plan it and do the right thing, okay? Because you got to start there, because otherwise you're just spinning your wheels, okay? So, hope that kind of helped to piece a couple of things together there for you. So you always got to be aware of the news, okay? And there's different ways to trade those news events at night. Like I said, you might want news nights for trending. You might not want news nights for range-bound trading, okay? You know, there's different ways to trade Nadex binaries and spreads overnight, okay? Yeah, Zamanelli, that's great. So it's great stuff. It cements my understanding to avoid spinning. Exactly, to avoid spinning your wheels. Okay, Margot says, I hadn't thought of it that way before. And that's the thing, guys, is we get so focused, especially as a new trader. I was there. I'm only saying this because I was there. I made these same mistakes. As a new trader, I thought, I've got to master this. I've got to get in there and I've got to just learn this ABC 1, 2, 3. And the more I learn it and just focus on this one market and learn this all the time, and you get tunnel vision, right? To where you're pulling up the same chart and looking for the same thing, and then you think there's got to be this holy grail that works all the time, any time of day, and there's not. You have to kind of step back and look at the whole picture of, well, And I remember the first time I was taught these things, I was like, wow, I feel kind of stupid. Like, why was I trading, watching a chart at night that's not even moving? The market is not even open. It's like, what, you know, like, that's crazy, you know? And then, oh man, like I needed to also understand that there was news events coming out, because I always wondered why things would go against me. And when you start piecing those things together, you can start planning, okay? So now, yes, Chuck, yes, the first thing to be aware of is what are you trading, what instruments are you trading, what markets are open. The second thing is always be aware of news, okay? Then from there, okay, you know, what are some different markets at night that, you know, have very short-term trades I can kind of get in and out of, and scalp trades? And, you know, we talked about some of those. You've got hourly binaries, 5-minute binaries, a lot of different things you can trade there. But now it's like, okay, John, that makes sense. Thanks for clarifying that. Now I just have to figure out, what do I want to trade? Range-bound trades or trending trades? What's best for me? Okay, well, I can't really tell you that, because there's not a right or wrong, okay? They're both useful, they can both be profitable, and they both have their place, just like I showed you here, right? When you know certain instruments and new. So it really boils down to, okay, if you're brand new, start with one, don't try to do both. Well, which one do I start with? Well, I can't answer that for you. There's no right or wrong, you know. I'm gonna direct you here where you can now go and learn both types, okay? Where you can watch full webinar videos just like this to show you trade examples, to show you, okay, this is what a range-bound trade is. This is what it means for premium collection. If you're doing range-bound premium collection, here's the right binaries to choose. Here's the wrong type of binaries to choose from. Here's some trade examples. So you can see them, and you'd be like, okay, got that. And then I'll show you where you can go watch some videos here on some trend trading strategies and what that means. And are binaries better or spreads better? Which, you know, in a trending strategy, these are the binaries you may want. Here's the ones you may not want. Here's the ones you probably want to choose from. Okay, great. Well, how much do I need in my account to trade one over the other? What is the risk compared to reward? So those are some of the things you have to consider, and we talk about all those things in these videos, okay? So again, know what to trade, know what's open, know what instruments, watch the news. Great, we built the foundation there, right? So there's your foundation. From there, great, John, thanks, but which one do I do? Where do I get more info on how to actually do this at night? All right, well, let's hop back over to the Nadex website, okay? And I'm going to show you where you can get some great info here. Some of you may not even know this was available to you. But if we're back here on nadex.com and you go right here to Learning Center, okay? You've got some educational courses right here under webinars. This is upcoming webinars that will be happening in the future. That way you can see the subjects, get signed up for those webinars. Right here you've got videos, trade examples, handbooks. But if you go right here to Webinar Archive, okay, Margot says, I'm brand new at trading and have been watching all of your webinars. They're so helpful and you explain everything so well. Thank you. Well, thank you, Margot. I appreciate that. And that's what I'm here for. I'm not here to try to talk technical analysis terms that are way over your head, right? I'm here to help not just newbies, but also veterans, but I'm here to make it basic, day-to-day. How can I make this practical, right? I can flash and make fancy, you know, fancy screenshots and graphs and terms that sound great, but if you can't take that right after this webinar and hop on Nadex and do something with it, it doesn't do anything for you. We're here to help you, not confuse you. We're here to make it easier, not make it harder. So I hope that's what we're doing, Margot. okay? So if you go right here to Webinar Archive, and right here says Filter by Presenter, okay? Just click this down and find us right here, Apex Investing Institute. This is a archive of past webinars we've done, okay? Like last week, I talked about common mistakes people make with Nadex spreads, okay? Or if you're brand new and you're still trying to understand what is Nadex, back to the basics with spreads. This is where I kind of take your hand and walk you through like a 5-year-old of here's a Nadex spread, here's how it works, here's what it is, right? Same with binaries. Here's what a binary is, okay? Again, we start from foundation and we build up, but you can scroll back through here and there's a ton of great webinars in here about short-term binaries versus long-term. Right here, I did a webinar about premium collection with Nadex binaries. Okay, you've heard me talk about range-bound and premium collection. Well, what does that mean? Right here, watch this webinar. It's absolutely free. You can log on and just watch it right now, right? Premium collection, how to trade morning breakouts with Nadex. Okay, comparing binaries and spreads. If you go back to page 2, let's see here, trading spreads, right here, range-bound markets. Okay, John, you keep talking about trending or range-bound. What is range-bound? Live range-bound market trading with Nadex. Check out that video. Watch through it, okay? Trading volatile markets, directional trading. I know I have some in here. Oh, maybe it's back on page 3. Let me look here real quick. Binary strangles and butterflies. Watch this webinar. Butterflies is for range-bound markets. Strangles is for volatile markets. Okay? There's all kind of information here for you on different ways to trade the different market types. Okay? So watch through a few of those. See which strategy you feel more comfortable with to start with and you like better or you like the risk reward. Okay? I have to give Nadex a ton of props. They give you this whole library archive here of webinars. They have tons of webinars coming up. They give you the free demo account. They give you all of this free education. So take advantage of it, guys. Take advantage of the education and the demo platform to test and trade. And also hop on over and see us at apexinvesting.com. We also have literally hundreds of hours of free education over there, and step-by-step training courses on binaries and spreads and different strategies and systems. We have a lot of information over there about trend trading and range-bound trading. Like I said, the news calendar, so you know what news is coming up. Some binary and spread scanners that make it real easy to see which binaries are out there for you. Free deviation levels. You kind of see some support and resistance levels. They show you how to get free charting platforms, and it's completely free basic membership to access all of that free education. Okay, so once again, all this is brought to you here from Nadex and hosted by Nadex. Take advantage of all the great tools they give you. Okay, so again, I hope this was helpful for everybody, and I hope this really helped you and gave you some insight that might have been missing, and some ways that you can put these things to use and help you, again, not just with these strategies and systems, but with scheduling your time and pinpointing your time and not taking and wasting time away from your life and your family to trade on nights when you shouldn't. Okay? So guys, thank you so much for being with us, and I really look forward to seeing you on some of our next webinars here. Okay? Thank you once again, guys. I appreciate it. We will see you next time. All right, thank you.